Well, he also became the first player since Tiger Woods back in 2005 through 2007 to record 5 or more wins in back-to-back seasons on the PGA Tour. He's finished inside the top 25 in all 19 starts. Season-high 16 top 10 finishes. The 14 straight matches a record Ben Hogan set over the course of several seasons back in the early 1950s. So that's a pretty high bar for the world number one to maintain this week in Napa. Let's head back out to Ciara K. Dixon with more on Scottie Scheffler.
Well, Eamon, we don't really say Scottie Scheffler making his tournament debut all that much anymore, and that's exactly what he's doing here in Napa this week at the Procore Championship. He's having to figure out the golf course, the nuances. In other tournaments that he normally plays, he gave Bay Hill as an example. You know, he really understands that on a Thursday morning it might be a completely different golf course than a Friday afternoon, so he's having to quickly learn all of that. And so is his caddy, Ted Scott, who said, never been to Napa, never been to this golf tournament, so they're both working really hard. Scottie said, you know, I'm not that much of a wine guy anyway, so Napa's never really been the top of his list, but what he is a big preparation guy.
You know, I got 2 good weeks of rest at home, some good practice in, had some fun, played some games at home, and excited to get this tournament started.
I know you're not a big wine guy. This is your first time in Napa, first time playing this golf tournament. What are your impressions of Silverado and the Procore Championship thus far?
Yeah, the golf course is great. It's a cool little golf course. You got to hit shots, you got to hit fairways, hit some different clubs off the tee, and I think the greens are going to get pretty firm this week. Looking at the weather forecast, so it should be a good challenge.
Well, the story within the story is all the Ryder Cup preparation that you guys are doing. 10 of your teammates are on site. What have the pairings been like? What has the prep been like while you've also been going about tournament prep?
Yeah, I think we're coming together as a team this week, and it's important for all of us to stay sharp. And I think one of the things we thought about in terms of the last Ryder Cup was maybe our preparation was as good as it could have been. It was more of a learning experience, just taking that much time off. I think maybe we weren't as sharp as we would have hoped to have been going into that tournament. And so going into this Ryder Cup, we were pretty committed to being as prepared as possible. And that's something that I always focus on in tournament golf, is being as prepared as I can, so that when I step on the first tee, I can tell myself I've done everything I could in order to play well, and it's time to go out and compete.
Yeah. Other than showing up to this golf tournament, what does the preparation look like if you compare Rome versus this time around?
Well, I think just getting prepared for the golf course. I think especially when it's a home Ryder Cup, you have some good insight on what the setup's going to be like, and there's things that you can prepare for, and knowing the golf course setup going in is also important.
I know every team is different, but what's the personality of this team looking like? I know you guys had a great dinner last night that Captain Keegan Bradley hosted, versus when you think about maybe the 2021 Ryder Cup team.
Well, I think we always have a fun team. We got some good personalities on the team. The guys love to have a good time, but when it comes down to business, we have some pretty serious competitors on our team as well. So we have a lot of fun, but when that first tee shot gets hit, we're pretty locked in.
And lastly, what has the Ryder Cup evolved to mean to you in your participation in it?
To be honest with you, I don't know if it's evolved very much. I've always loved the Ryder Cup. I've always loved the opportunity to represent my country, and I've always dreamed of playing these events. I was at the 2012 Ryder Cup playing the junior one, and it was something that was pretty inspirational for me, being able to see the environment, be a part of the crowd, and hopefully one day have the opportunity to represent my country.
So Scottie Scheffler makes no secret about the fact of what it means to him to represent his country, have the flag on your chest, playing for the United States at the Ryder Cup. He said, you guys have seen me get emotional about it. Of course, you saw him with the gold medal at the Olympic Games. He said, that's exactly why. It's because I care so much about representing my country. And of course, last Ryder Cup last time around, he said the loss very much hurt. Took me a while to get over that, so he's looking forward to a different preparation process this time around, and hopefully that will help them out when it comes time for Bethpage.
Ciara K. Dixon spending some time with the best player in the world. Scottie will get his first round started tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time with U.S. Open champ J.J. Spahn, and a winner on tour this season at the Arnold Palmer, Russell Henley, who of course paired so beautifully with Scottie Scheffler last year in the President's Cup at Royal Montreal. Scottie Scheffler out on the golf course today. Eamon 2-2-3 record in his 2 Ryder Cup appearances. All I can tell you is, I thought he hinted at it a little bit in this conversation with Ciara about the competitive nature of this American team. No one represents it better than he does. The fire that was coming off his skin when he was battling Tom Kim 1 year ago in Montreal, when he was paired and grouped with Russell Henley, was unlike something I'd ever experienced as an interviewer. He was so incredibly hyper, energetic, fired up. It just, you know, we don't see him that often. I hope that the viewers get to watch him compete in the Ryder Cup because, you know, we see him kind of mild-mannered in interviews and when he wins and talks about how he doesn't need it that much. But my goodness, when the bit's between the teeth, Eamon, it is something to behold.
And we don't typically see Scottie Scheffler this time of the year a great deal outside of those national team appearances. Earlier in his career, even before he had that first win in Phoenix in 22, he did play with some regularity in what was then the wraparound season, say late in 21 into 22, and then even later in 22 into the 23 season. He would play some of these fall events. Last year, we didn't see him at all. He didn't play in the fall of 2023. He didn't play in the fall last year. In fact, from the Tour Championship, which ended September 1st last year, we didn't see Scottie until Pebble Beach in February. Now, he did injure his hand over Christmas, but that only accounted for the last 5-6 weeks of his absence. He had decided to take most of the fall off, and he has basically said that he probably wouldn't be competing except for this team bonding exercise ahead of the Ryder Cup. It's going to be really interesting to see. You know, as Ciara said, we don't get to see it very often. Here's a guy who's demonstrably the best player in the world, learning a golf course for the first time, and you know he could win by 7 or 8 this week.
It's really neat how he's able to compartmentalize what he does on the golf course and what he does off the golf course. He's someone who can turn it on and turn it off, as it were. When he is not playing golf, he's with his family and believing in his faith and doing other things and wants to be the best dad and husband possible. But my goodness, there's a reason why he's won 5 times this season and can address the media center at the Open Championship and say, I don't really need this. I don't know why I need this, and then go out and win it.
Well, then we'll see what role he steps into when we get to Bethpage, because he's clearly the dominant world #1.
Right.
But he's not the most experienced guy on that team. He will be playing his 3rd Ryder Cup. Justin Thomas, about to make his 4th appearance in the Ryder Cup, is now the veteran on the U.S. team, which just tells you the sea change have gone through from the days when it would be Tiger or Phil Mickelson or Jim Furyk and guys would be on their 8th, 9th, 10th teams. JT, about to make his 4th start, is the most experienced Ryder Cupper on that team. So I'll be curious even to see what kind of a leadership role Scottie Scheffler takes on in that team room as well.
And if you're a golf fan, you got to love the fact that both Scottie Scheffler and Rory McIlroy, the world's 1 and 2 players, are playing so well at the height of their power, almost like a Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. Let's take a look once again at the U.S. roster. 6 automatics and 6 captain's picks for Keegan Bradley as the Americans try to win back the Ryder Cup after the disappointment in Rome.